In our Sanatana Dharma, which is popularly known as Hindu Dharma, there are many books of wisdom. Amongst these, the Shad Darshan are very popular. These are 6 treatises written by 6 sages who disserted on different aspects of philosophy. And amongst these, the Yoga Darshan has become very popular in the West because not only does it present amazing philosophy, it also presents tremendously powerful techniques for managing our mind, managing our emotions, going within ourselves, lifting ourselves up for inner growth, purification, and the rest. So, over these 7 days, we shall be taking the Samadhi path of the Yoga Sutras. Before diving in, it becomes essential to understand who was this Maharshi Patanjali. The story goes that once human beings approached Bhagavan Vishnu and said, Maharaj, you descended as Dhanvantari, the divine physician. But despite your avatar, we are still afflicted by vyadhi or disease. And apart from physical disease, there is emotional and mental disease. There are intellectual afflictions. And finally, there is the spiritual disease of separation from God Himself. Kindly give us the medicine for all these afflictions. Bhagavan Vishnu looked at his Sharashaya, the divine serpent on which he resides, Ananta Shesh, the 10,000 hooded serpent. And he indicated to Ananta Shesh, I desire you to do this seva in Mrityu Lok. A little time went by, and Bhagavan Shiv, Nataraj, was dancing. Vishnuji was admiring his dance, and he became so absorbed in the graceful movements of Lord Shiv, the divine dancer, that Vishnuji started swaying. And his Sharashaya started swaying alongside. And that made Anantashesh think that if dancing gives my master so much of pleasure, I also wish to master the art of dance. Now, how to arrange for descent on the earth planet? There was a wise lady who was chosen for the task. Her name was Gonika. She had cultivated knowledge through her life, but had not found a suitable person to share it with. And she was about to depart. So she prayed to the Lord to give her a fit patra, vessel, who would receive this knowledge. And she took water in her Anjali, in the palm of her hand, and was offering it to Bhagavan Vishnu when a little baby serpent fell into her palm. This little serpent, in a moment, grew big and turned into a human form. You know, India abounds in such stories about this. There was a snake who turned into a human being. The original story is of Patanjali himself. So he fell as a little snake and then transformed into a human. And that is why the name came. Pat means fall, Anjali is the palm. So Maharshi Patanjali grew up to be an extremely illustrious sage. Naturally, he was endowed with divine wisdom by the blessings of Vishnu. It is said that one of his specialties was Sanskrit language. Some people consider him to be Panini, the writer of Vyakaran. But the other scholars say that Panini was a separate personality. Patanjali is the one who wrote the Mahabhashya on Panini Vyakaran. He has also written a text on medicine, and he also expounded the science of dance. And even today, classical dancers offer their respects to Maharshi Patanjali. So, for the sake of his task in the world, providing the souls with a knowledge system that would help them eradicate vyadhi at the physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual levels, he wrote the Yoga Sutras. So these Yoga Sutras are part of the Vedic system of knowledge, where the highest platform is of the four Vedas, Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Samaved, Atharva Ved. And those Vedas, to understand them, we've got 6 Vedang: Shiksha, Kalp, Vyakram, Nirukti, Chand, and Jyotish. And 4 Upavedas that give material science. Like the Upaveda of Rig Ved is Arth Ved, economic science. The Upaved of Yajur Ved is Dhanur Ved, military science. The Upaved of Samaved is Gandharva Ved, musical science. And the Upaved of Atharva Ved is Ayurved, medical science. So our Vedic gamut of knowledge provides both spiritual and material learning. Now beyond that come the 2 Itihas, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And then the Ashtadash Puran written by Ved Vyas. Then come these Shad Darshan, starting with Mimamsa as the first one, and the last in the line is the Yoga Darshan, for implementing the knowledge and achieving perfection. He has written it in the form of sutras. Sutras are short aphorisms. So sutra means thread. It also means aphorism, a little formulae. You will find that many of our Indian scriptures are written as sutras. You have the Brahma Sutra, also called the Vedanta Darshan. Mimamsa has got sutras, Nyaya and Vaisheshika are written with sutras. Naradji wrote his Bhakti Sutras, and Patanjali has written the Yoga Sutras. So the reason why they wrote it in the short form was, in the earlier days, knowledge was not compiled in books and passed on. The disciple was expected to be attentive enough to hear the Guru and memorize what they had heard, and then reproduce it verbatim to their disciple in future. So if Guruji's book was 300 pages big, then memorizing it by hearing would have created problem. That is why the tradition of these succinct sayings called sutras or aphorisms. Now, interestingly, Maharshi Patanjali, in these Yoga Sutras, there are 196 of them, divided into 4 sections: Samadhi Pad, Sadhan Pad, Vibhuti Pad, and Kaivalya Pad. So out of these, the first 2, really, Samadhi Pad and Sadhan Pad, have all the juice in them. And from that, we are going to take the Samadhi path, which has got 52 sutras, which we will be covering in the 7 days of this series. So, Maharshi Patanjali, in these sutras, has done a synthesis of material and spiritual sciences. He doesn't believe that spirituality is divorced from material science. He is given a perfect blend here. A healthy mind in a healthy body. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. But the most amazing is his understanding of the functioning of the mind, the defects of the mind, and the remedies to those defects. In all my readings, I have never found such a deep science of mind management as I have found in his Yoga Sutras, apart from all the other things. So with that little introduction, we are ready to dive in. You have received the Yoga Sutras as PDF. Correct? When you registered, you received the Yoga Sutras. So let us get into them. I will say, and you can repeat after me. So we are doing the first one. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Atha Yoganushasanam. I'll say the translation with prayers for divine blessings. Now begins an exposition of the sacred science of yoga. So he opens with the word atha. Interestingly, the other acharyas have also opened their texts with atha. For example, Vedavyas in the Brahma Sutra, he starts athato Brahma Jigyasa. Maharshi Jaimini in the Mimamsa Darshan, he starts off athato Karma Mimamsa. And Naradji starts off his Bhakti Darshan athato Bhakti Vyakhyasya. So this word at, different acharyas have interpreted it differently. Some say it refers to what went in the past. Like Naradji, first he wrote Narad Smriti, then he wrote Narad Pancharatra, then Narad Bhakti Darshan. So he says, now I am writing this. Shankaracharya says it refers to qualification, that now you have achieved this qualification. You are entitled to this knowledge. So the first sutra of the Vedanta, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, Shankaracharya said, after you have become sadhan chatushtay, vivekino viraktasya, shamadhi gunashalinaha, mumukshoreva hi brahma jigyasa yogyata mata. He says what Vedavyas means is that now, when you are qualified, you can hear the Brahma Sutra. In this case, the opinion, personal opinion is that he is invoking blessings. That's another connotation to at. So he says, with prayers for divine blessings, I am going to expound on the discipline of yoga. Yoga Anushasanam. Anushasan, discipline. Interestingly, in this world, anything that is worthwhile requires discipline. Anything that is worthless is often easily available. That is why the saying in the West that there are no free lunches. One father was enjoying Makar Sankranti festival with his son. They were flying kites. It's such an enjoyable time. If you happen to be in Gujarat in Makar Sankranti, all of Gujarat is on the rooftops from morning till night. So he was enjoying the kite flying. And he asked his son, Beta, what keeps the kite up? The son said, Papa, it is the strong wind. No, Beta, it is the string. Hari, Papa, the string is pulling it down. No, it's the string that is keeping it up. So the child was not able to understand. The father said, release the string and see what happens. He let go of the string and the kite started gliding down until it fell. The father said, see, it was the string that was keeping it up. Likewise, the way to rise up in life is through discipline. Discipline means the voluntary acceptance of an austerity. You don't say that as a discipline I went to see movies. But you may say that this educative movie was so boring, and yet to learn from it, I engaged in the discipline of seeing it 3 times. It was a bitter pill, but I did it for a higher purpose. So the only way you can climb in life is through discipline. When you voluntarily engage in the austerity required for the higher purpose, it is painful. But when you do it, it gives you the inner fulfillment. Yes, I overcame my lower self. I controlled my senses. I focused my mind, and that makes me feel good. Indulging in pleasure doesn't make you feel good. It will thrill you, but never fulfill you. The fulfillment is an inner feeling that requires nothing from the outside. That comes by exercising self-discipline as a consequence of what you are trying to become and what you are trying to do. So, studies have been conducted in the United States that the worker in the factory production line on the average sees 25 hours of TV every week. But the line in charge on the average sees 20 hours of TV every week. And the shop foreman on the average sees 15 hours of TV every week. The production manager sees 10 hours of TV. And the production director sees 5 hours of TV. The vice president rarely sees TV except for an educative program. Now you see the trend. So that is exactly how it is. Hence, the Kathopanishad introduces the concept of Shreya and Preya. Shreya is that happiness which is bitter now, but later on it turns sweet. Preya is that happiness which is sweet now, but later on it becomes bitter. So if, for example, you indulge in eating the 5th pastry, pineapple pastry, it is very sweet, no doubt. But if you repeat it too often and the doctor says your sugar count and cholesterol is all haywire, you say, oh my God, ab to mara. So it is giving you pleasure in the short run and pain in the long run. That is Preya happiness, and the other is Shreya happiness. So when you decide, I will wake up early to do sadhana, the mind and the senses complain. It is bitter in the here and now to reject the bed at 5 a.m. But when, as a consequence of it, you become a healthier and more focused person, you say life is becoming joyous. This is Shreya happiness. So Maharshi Patanjali doesn't promise you a fun time. He says, if you have decided that you wish to uplift yourself spiritually, then I'll give you the disciplines and the knowledge by which to achieve your higher goal.